Muy buenas tardes, bienvenidos a Club Deportes TV. Hoy tenemos un programa especial, un programa que va a estar muy bueno, se los recomendamos. Tenemos una gran personalidad que es Glenn Davis y ahorita se los voy a presentar. Primeramente, déjenme decirles que no se les olvide visitarnos en clubdeportes.com. Ahí encuentra toda nuestra información de todo lo que es el mundo deportivo. También síganos en Twitter, @Club Deportes TV. Y este programa va a ser en inglés, so we're going to switch over now. And we have a big personality with us. It's an honor, Glenn, to have you in Club Deportes. Welcome, Glenn Davis from Soccer Matters. How are you?
Jorge, lo siento mi español es poquito, so thank you for doing this in English because I want the ratings to go up, not down.
We're going to have to teach you probably in 2026 when we have the World Cup here. You're going to be able to talk to us. And I mean, to have a full show. Have you seen how Arch Bell talks Spanish?
Yeah, he's very good. He's bilingual.
It's incredible. He speaks very good Spanish.
He's excellent.
Glenn, thank you very much. Before we go to what's going to be the show, can you tell us a little bit about Soccer Matters? I know you guys have a show here. Most of the people who speak Spanish probably is not really familiar with it, but tell us a little more about Soccer Matters.
Yeah, so I've been on the radio since 2001, believe it or not, in English. Wow. Started on public radio in Houston at 90.1 KPFT. It then went mainstream over on Sports Channel 790. And then ESPN got me to come over there here in Houston. So I've been on the air for, quite some time now, 17, 18 years. And then, of course, we branched out to Austin. We're going on 2 years almost in Austin now. And, it's ESPN 975 in Houston and Horn FM in Austin.
Perfect, Glenn. Now we have something that it connects both cities, which are the teams from the MLS. And I want to ask you first your references of Austin. What Austin? I know you have been very close to Austin FC, but how do you see Austin FC on the first season on MLS?
Yeah, obviously it's a grand success off the field. I watched what they did off the field, how they wove the Austin community into the club. They hired locals, all the right things. They have not become a threat to the youth soccer community either. And the soil was tilled there for soccer at the MLS level to come to Austin, Texas. I don't think there's any question. So a raving success off the field. They get a pass in year one, obviously, because they're an expansion team. I would assume Josh Wolf is coming back. You got to give him a second chance. And you got to give him a little bit of time as a head coach now. Aesthetically, I thought they played some There is a way though from being the finished product. Look, to see the loyalty of the fan base, despite the fact that they were getting shut out a lot, it took them a while to get to the point where they were producing more goals at home and doing a little bit better at their home stadium. So, look, they're a little bit different than the other two teams in Texas. They get a little bit more rope when it comes to now the product. Now, next year, I think, with healthy pressure, the bar will be raised for them to do better. I would have thought they would have been a little bit closer to the playoff line this year. But all in all, positioned well for success in the future.
I'm going to take something that you say on the beginning. You said Josh Wolf is going to come back next year. We need to give him the opportunity. Do you think he deserves an opportunity?
I think that's, if you want to just say, hey, this is a results-oriented business, and if you don't get results, you get fired after 5 games like in the Premier League. Well, he would have been fired a long time ago, right? That doesn't happen in MLS. Generally, the clubs give coaches an opportunity. He's a young coach. I think he will admit, probably much like Tab Ramos in Houston, that, look, it's different when you're the head coach. And to allow a head coach to make some mistakes, if they are young, if they are new to the position, I think is okay. There's been a year-long investment in him. So let's see where it goes in year 2. But year 2 will be very telling for Josh because management and organizations are not going to accept not being in long.
But now, what would be the difference? Because Dallas got rid of the coach in the middle, almost at the end of the season, and Houston got rid of Tab Ramos. What would be the difference to give the opportunity? And I don't want to say nothing bad because Josh is a good person, but on the results, we lost 21. What will be the credit for him to tell him, okay, let's start over?
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy for him to get a second year because he is a first-year coach. You do want to give him at least 2 years. Now you have to judge him on his progress next year. His team has to be solidified defensively. As a club, they're going to have to go out and get more players. They need help in the center back position. They need another defining sort of midfielder that I think can bounce things off a little bit. They've got to tighten things up from the standpoint of when they don't have the ball. Dallas is a different story because Luchi Gonzalez has been there for a while. By the way, firing him when they did is very unlike Dallas normally. They don't normally do that, and they generally hire from within. And for Houston, it was 2 years for Tab Ramos. I was hoping he was going to get a third year, honestly, because his first year was a little bit muddied by the pandemic. But I think when you make an investment in these younger coaches, you do have to give them enough room to make some mistakes. It would be like you and me taking a new job in an area that we've never been before. We're going to make mistakes. So I do think that Austin does a smart thing, giving Josh another year. I wish Houston had given Tab Ramos another year because their coaching hire is going to be very, very important.
What do you think about the rosters? Like, I mean, on FC Dallas, they have Pepe, they have Serrano. They with you guys, you have Darwin Quintero, you have Fafa, we have Drusi, Fagundes. Which roster do you think he had a better opportunity? We fail, but which roster should do more on 2021 season?
Yeah, that's a really good question. That's not an easy question to answer very quickly. I would say FC Dallas based on so let's look at them all. FC Dallas really quickly. Hey, great, bravo. You're great at developing young players and selling them. Bravo to you guys. But honestly, if you're selling Ricardo Pepi at 18 and all these guys before they've ever won anything, what's the point? Why should I buy a season ticket? You're not proving to me you're trying to win the MLS Cup, okay? I think they've missed on designated players to supplement the young talent that they have, and they don't hang on to the young talent, and they're not relevant in Dallas. I'm sorry, but I have to be honest. They're not relevant. Nobody talks about them, and their attendance is just average. And they don't give you the feeling they're trying to win the MLS Cup. Houston was the same way under past ownership, under Gabriel Brenner. It's smoke and mirrors. It's marketing. It's not proving to your fan base that you're trying to win a title. And the reason why I can validate that is nobody comes to the stadium and we're not relevant. There's been tons of mistakes made. There's been poor leadership. And I'm sorry, we have to be honest if we want to figure out how to go in the positive direction, right? And then for Austin FC, I think guys like Truisi and Cecilio Dominguez and these guys, now that they've gotten a year under their belt, I think this is going to benefit them in the future. Gite as well, Romagna, these guys are acclimating to MLS. I think that'll be good for them. But like I said, they do need to add some more players to that roster, no question.
And combining the three teams, why? Because I think we have a good roster to be better. And I'm talking about the three teams. Why do you think we were the last three on the conference? I mean, we were the shame of the MLS. I'm talking about Texas.
Yeah, Texas wasn't good. Hey, we got to give some props to San Antonio FC. They're the only team still standing, and they've got themselves in the conference final in the U.S. Yeah, I mean, I think I just kind of explained that answer about the rosters. Houston's got a long, long way to go. The Dynamo are a club that, look, if you've had 9 years of mediocrity, it's really, really hard to turn that around. And that's just not on the competitive side. That's on the front office side of things. That's the academy. That's all these other things. Look, I give props to FC Dallas for the production of young players and the ability to sell them. They get credit for that. they're not winning titles or championships. So yeah, you have to make that big picture. Why can't it be both in Dallas, right? Why don't you hang on to some of these guys a little bit longer? And I think that's why they're not relevant. I think Houston's got so much work to do from this perspective of moving players through to the first team, to the off-field marketing. And I think at times you really have to say to yourself, when you're this unsuccessful for this many years, you have two teams. You got the Houston Dynamo and the Houston Dash. They've been in 15 seasons, and you made the playoffs once. At some point, you have to say there's people just not good at their jobs. And that could include the commentator, too. I'm going to include myself in that, right? Because you have to do a deep dive. There's just too many passionless soccer people that are in positions of importance.
So on this case, are we going to look on that mirror? Because Austin FC, the best thing, in my opinion, the best thing on 2021 was the fan base, the people, the party on the Q2. The Q2 was amazing. But I remember it was kind of the same when even on the University of Houston Stadium. I remember it was kind of the same with Houston and also on Frisco with Dallas. Are we going to be looking at the same mirror, let's say, in 5-10 years?
Fantastic question, Jorge. And I think that is something I'm sure that the Austin FC ownership and management, Andy Loughnane, the owners, Houston got gifted the San Jose Earthquakes, if you remember. Very good soccer market. The problem is it was never sustained. We lost Oliver Luck, who was the link to the Houston community. All the decision makers are outside of Houston now, and they drove it into the ground. There was too much self-promotion, self-protection, taking care of yourselves when it comes to your profession, as opposed to weaving in the entire soccer and making this something that would then be sustainable, right? Everybody said, you shouldn't have won 2 championships. That made it hard. No, it didn't. It made it easy. As long as you provide customer service, you weave the entire community in, you do the right things to your fan base, people will come back to you when you have an off year and have years that are bad. But this thing just went south farther and farther. It was very hurtful personally to a lot of people in the soccer community. I would even say me. I came here in '84, played pro soccer at a very different time, ran a youth club. I know what's here. I know we could be at Portland. I know we could be in Austin. But, when you see the game, not embracing the people that really know the market well, keeping them at a distance for self-preservation, it's very sad. And it's tough to handle sometimes. And I would say in Austin, sustainability now includes winning, but continuing to work even harder right now when you've got such a loyal fan base. And the 2 times I've been to Q2, it's unbelievable. It's like being in Europe.
Yeah, it is. And I saw your tweet. I saw your comment. I heard your comments about about Pat Austin coming to managing the team, and I saw you very positive. And not only you, some people from Houston, they were kind of happy because I know he was a goalkeeper on the, I would say, the golden years of the Houston Dynamo.
Yeah.
What do you think about Austin now managing Houston?
Okay, so the first thing is my excitement is not because we're going back to nostalgia in 2000. I'm not coming here to play goalkeeper, okay? I get that. That's great. Pat Onstad has to be judged on being a general manager. What I love about him is he has done the work. This will be the first time he's ever been a general manager. That can't be lost on people. But he has done the work as an assistant coach, a scout, a director of soccer operations. He's been under the tutelage of guys like Tim Bezbachenko in Columbus. So he's done the work. He's not some ex-pro living on his plaudits and, the glory years, and they haven't prepared themselves for the job. He has prepared himself for the job. The other thing I love about Pat Onstad, he's definitive. He's strong with decisions.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
You gotta have, we can bring the dog in too. El Perro is
I think he's not happy with Pat Austin. Never mind. No, never mind. So, yeah, go ahead.
So,
What is UPS?
but
sorry about that.
No, that's okay. But Pat Onstad is defined. We need people that are transparent here with this club in Houston. We need people that are going to be up front. The fans are clamoring for transparency if you're going to get them back. They want to. There's been too much smoke and mirrors, too much marketing, too much social media. They need leadership that will talk to the fan base honestly. And I'll tell you, the guy that deserves a lot of credit for getting that in motion is Tab Ramos, because Tab Ramos, even though he's no longer with the Dynamo, was fantastic with the media, understood that part of this organization would have to change, not only from the coach's position, but from the GMs to the front office.
So, Glenn, on this season, the marketing department on Austin FC and basically some media, they try to encourage people to see Austin FC against against Dallas, or FC against Houston as a classic, as a derby. I mean, some people didn't feel it. They even feel better or more rivalry with LAFC just because it's LAFC or LA Galaxy. When do you think or how we can see these Texans playing with real rivalry?
Yeah, I think holding time, Jorge, can create real rivalry. I think what you've seen over the years in MLS are specific best practices, and a lot of the best practices are, we've got the, it used to be the Texas Derby when it was just the Dynamo. We like to name these confrontations and these rivalries don't happen because of clipping the fingers. But each year that moves on, the rivalry can grow stronger. Geography plays a part in it. But, you got to be careful, I think, and I'm a little different on this, and I know for the younger fan base, I may be really speaking from a different place, but I do think sometimes we overmarket stuff. Some of it doesn't feel heartfelt. It just feels like we got to name it and we got to drive a rivalry. And I get that. That's okay. It is good to see Houston and Austin because of their geographic location, and Dallas as well. But I do think time will lead to a lot from a sponsorship standpoint. You can't sponsor anything or every cause and expect people to believe that it's really in your heart. So I think you got to really be very careful and selective about the way you do this stuff. And that's up to the marketing experts, not Glenn Davis.
I wanna hear an honest answer from Glenn.
Buddy, I've been honest the whole time.
No, but this is gonna be something. I know, and I thank you for that. But the Copa Texas, it really is something that Houston Dynamo cares about. They're trying to get it. And I want to say this because on Austin, after we had 20 games, I think it was like 19 games on that before the Copa Texas game. We have 19 losses on a year, right? So people start saying, okay, we're going to have the Copa Texas. We're going to go for the Copa Texas. And it was like a big thing here in Austin. A bunch of people traveled to Houston. I arrived in Houston. Not Houston, Dallas. And the first thing I did, I asked the people from the communications department, the one who gives you the media credential, and I said, you know what is the Copa Texas, because we want to take a picture. And she goes like, I don't know, let me call. She called somebody. I think it's on the Hall of Fame, but you need to go upstairs and ask. So here on Austin, we were like thinking, and everybody was saying, okay, Copa Texas is ours, Copa Texas is ours. They don't even knew where Copa Texas was.
No, I know where it was.
It wasn't a big deal for them.
You know where it was? It was in Lloyd, London, locked in a vault somewhere. Look, I like the idea of Copa Texas. If that engages the fans, I'm okay with it. It doesn't mean as much to me because, as you said, you rightly pointed it out. In the context of a season that you've lost a lot, now all of a sudden we're going to get excited about the Copa Texas. And why is that? Because we've had a losing season and it's the only thing left to hang our hats on. So that to me doesn't mean a lot. It's like, even when you're talking about players having a great season, it's all in the context of not making the playoffs. Okay.
I like that. I like that. This is the same thing.
We can hand out awards to our players, and that's great. And I think you have to do those things. But it's in the not making the playoffs. The 3 Texas MLS teams, we didn't make the playoffs in one of the most forgotten leagues in the world when it comes to making a playoff. So if you don't make the playoffs, it's a bad season. And frankly, some bad teams do get into the playoffs in Major League Soccer. Now, I understand why we have a playoff system. End of the year, everybody still maybe has a shot. The playoffs are exciting because there is a sense of finality. But there is this balance of contrived things and heartfelt things with the actual reality. And reality maybe for guys like me, a little less reality, and let's get excited about anything or everything that comes maybe is for the younger set. And I'm okay with that too.
Well, right here in Austin, I think media in general, not in Austin. I think in MLS media it's soft comparing to. You saw what happened with Tata Martino. Like people was insulting him, and even in the media they were insulting him. They want him out because.
But Jorge, can I stop you for a second?
Sure.
Healthy pressure does not have to be slanderizing or assassinating someone's character. I don't condone that. I actually don't like a lot of the things the Mexican press does. It's too tabloidy for me. But what I do feel should be honored and is fair and should always be a part of the coverage of a team in Major League Soccer is healthy criticism and fair criticism. There is nothing wrong with that as long as journalists are fair, honest, and are not out to assassinate somebody's character.
No, I understand. There are limits. But the pressure to lose, you see, we can't lose 3 games in a row against United States. That's something that we can't do. I mean, you are on the winning side now, but we as Mexicans, we can't take that. I mean, if this guy doesn't take the game seriously, he can't be there. That's why the people is.
You're telling me that Tata Martino doesn't take games seriously against the United States?
I don't think he does.
A job that he also was interested in, apparently, and Greg Berhalter got the job over him. I was saying, wow, how could we not even interview Tata Martino in the U.S. for the U.S. national team job after what he did in Atlanta and his understanding of Major League Soccer? So now he's lost 3 in a row to the U.S. Now, if that's a Mexican Federation thing, if they want to follow, I don't think they should, because he's going to qualify you for the World Cup. And by the way, going to put in there at this point. I mean, you're trying to qualify for the World Cup. It's not simply about beating the U.S.
Come on, Glenn. On CONCACAF, we're gonna qualify. I mean, we're in the
yeah, of course.
United States and Mexico we're gonna be both on the World Cup. I mean, only if there is a tragedy on the way. But Mexico and U.S. are gonna be always in the World Cup. Well, not in 2018. But we will be in 2020.
Which, by the way, was the best thing that could have ever happened to our national team program.
That's what I heard. Do you 100%. Think U.S. sacrificed the 2018 World Cup to see this team growing?
That was the and us not qualifying because it accelerated.
I mean, did they did, or it was just like?
What do you mean? You're saying you think they did it on purpose? No,
okay.
No. There's too much money to be lost. But look, what it did do, and this is very simple. What it did do is it accelerated the process of young players now getting their player development in. So we're in an unprecedented time right now, and Mexico sees this. We have players at Juventus, Chelsea, Dortmund. We've got players in the biggest clubs in the world. They're playing, plus they're getting international experience now. World Cup qualifying.
No.
They got Qatar, and then 2026, it's U.S., Mexico, and Canada hosting. So it's accelerated their development. It moved out the Josie Alcadors, the Michael Bradleys. We didn't have to do that dance anymore to those 2 very great players, had great careers. So to me, 100%.
No, but you say 100%. Mexico. Sorry to interrupt you, Glenn. You say Mexico is looking what U.S. is doing. I don't think they even care about MLS like they should, that we should, because honestly, nobody approach Pepe. Nobody approached Pepe. Pepe is, has a lot of future. He's been named the MLS youngest player today. He was named on the MLS, and I think, he deserves it.
Yeah.
Now, we have Andres Guardado with 36 years. We have Memo Ochoa with 36 years. We have
Herrera.
a bunch of old people. Herrera is over 30. And we have people playing on MLS in a better shape, like Chofis, and also Chicharito. Why not? He scored 17 goals. I mean, he's not the lovely player for some people, but he deserves to be there. We have Henry Martin with 2 goals in the season playing on the national team. Why? I mean, this is something that in Mexico it's very different. It's very different than what you guys do over here, because you are growing a process, and doesn't matter if Berhalter leaves, whoever gets to the coaching is gonna follow the steps, because it's a preparation. We don't have that kind of stuff in Mexico right now. Tata leaves, everything has to start from scratch.
Yeah, but this is the natural progression in life of national team. They go up and down, right? Times when you guys had the golden generation, and the exact thing you're talking about, we were going, oh, wow, we got this older team now, and boy, they're not nearly as technical maybe as Mexico. Well, for sure we weren't as technical as Mexico. So I do think these things go in sort of stages. But I think for us at this stage, with this group of young guys who are embracing their national team, who are athletic as can be, who are playing in big clubs, we've never had this before. So for us, this is a real watershed moment. It's a very different moment for us. It's something that could set the tone for the future. And we're going to have generations of kids that ultimately don't know how dominant Mexico was over the U.S. for such a long period of time. So the gap is narrowed. It's narrowed in CONCACAF. It's all healthy. People are sharing players. They're sharing fans. It is what it is. But we're in a place now where I think even after a listless draw against Jamaica, it's an exciting time for U.S. soccer.
No, I was talking to Arch Bell about it. I said, Arch, the passion that you guys have against Mexico, you don't show it with any other team.
Yeah, listen, it's a great rivalry. Listen, the United States doesn't get to where we are without Mexico, right? Ronaldo doesn't achieve the heights he does without Messi, right? Larry Bird doesn't do it without, who was Larry Bird's guy? Magic Johnson, right? Like, the two countries neighboring each other, all the commonalities, all the differences, people from both countries living in each other's country, all this stuff has helped. And look, the U.S. are going to win some players that could represent both countries, and the Mexicans are going to win some. It's just the way it is. And at the end, it's to where the player thinks he's going to have.
Yeah, but this is. I'm going to show you. A ver si pones lo de la MLS con el website. I'm going to show you something that you probably already saw it. The MLS website sharing and celebrating the Canadian victory. This was kind of strange to see. You can see, okay, well, we have MLS has 2 teams on two Canadian teams at the MLS, or you can have Canadian players. This is. I mean, it's kind of strange. It's like Mexican Federation cheering Jamaica or somebody else because they're winning Mexico. This is out of the limits, no?
Yeah, it's look, Mexico can be accused of some of that kind of stuff in the past as well, right? So I don't think a league should be really doing that as much. I think you got to be very careful. I also don't like how social media is nowadays. I think we're going to low-hanging fruit sometimes when it comes to the way the things that we put out on social media representing the clubs of MLS. I don't like a lot of it. It doesn't resonate with me. I'm always about being above board, being about being classy, good sportsmanship. These are all things that are a part of my makeup as a person. Doesn't mean it's a part of everybody's, but I always think that's the best way to go. You take the high road always, and you let your performance be the thing that really tells you. In rivalry, yes, some people can take it too far, and I don't like that stuff. At the end of the day, if you don't have a rival, you don't have a rivalry, right?
No, but this is obviously I wanna believe MLS in coordination with Zoom, they're trying to do this kind of stuff to make more money in the future, because we have now the League's Cup, we have a bunch of games and Conca Champions and everything that Mexico, Liga MX and MLS are playing together. So and also the friendly games that Zoom owns with the Mexican national team. So it can be some kind of a marketing thing. I believe that. Okay, I want to say, okay, that's fine. You are doing it because of marketing, but
Correct.
what is the real thing? I mean, MLS. For some people, they think they already got to Liga MX level. I want to believe that in marketing and organization, your guys already passed us a long time ago.
You really think so? Oh, well,
yeah, definitely. You see, you can buy a team in Mexico for $50 million. You can get Querétaro, you can get Juarez for $50-60 million. Right here, any franchise is going to cost you $200 million. But also, you need to have a stadium, like a nice stadium. You need to have all the structure to be able to own the game. Now, right here, you know who the owner is. You know what the organization is. In Mexico, we don't even know who owns the team. We don't know where the money comes from. We don't know and this happened with Irapuato. This happened with that some like after a season, they find out this guy was money laundering or from the narcos or something, and they are infiltrated on football or soccer. So on marketing and organization, MLS is already way up. This is my
infrastructure, Jorge. Infrastructure as far as stadiums and things could be the best in the world.
It is. I mean, right now, I was talking. I have been in many stadiums. I think probably you more than I. But Q2, it's a beautiful stadium. It's like a real beautiful stadium. You can access quick. You can get out quick. You can see the game from anywhere you are, except from the press box, because they have like a bars right there. But other than that, you can see the game perfect. And this is the new soccer era in the world. Like compact stadiums.
Yes,
stadiums like
the vertical nature of it too. It seems very vertical to me. I absolutely love.
Yes, it is.
Like I said, I'm not going to repeat anything you said because you said it all. But to me, I felt like I was in Europe.
Okay, but now talk to me. Let's talk about this soccer. I mean, let's talk about football. You guys haven't won a Conca Champions. You guys have been actually. Toronto was on the final. LA Galaxy was on the final. When do you guys are going, or how big or stretch the difference you see it on teams levels, club levels?
LAFC had a great chance to win the last one, right? I think as long as Mexico keeps winning that tournament, Mexico's league then is considered better. Sorry. That's the way I look at the CONCACAF Champions League. If you're not winning it, you're the second league. Sorry. It's as simple as that to me. And it's been so dominated by Mexican clubs that, you can't really argue with what I'm saying, right? You can't. And why would we want to go to the World Club Championship and get on the field with a Chelsea or a Real Madrid or, you want marketing and promotion for your league? That's right.
Yes.
So I want to see MLS teams going to the Club World Cup or the Club World Championship, whatever they call it. But Mexico has dominated this tournament. It's their tournament until we win it finally once.
So we're on the same page then. Now, the youth players, like we just won the Revelations Cup that I don't even know that exists, but they won on, just a couple days ago. They beat the United States on the final. Those players, those Mexico players, because Mateo Flores, he plays on Arsenal. Okay, so he's already on the big leagues. He's already on Premier. But for some reason, Glenn, those players, those prospects, they get lost on the way to the top. That's something that US has been working, but I don't know. I mean, I have been trying to see how you guys are doing, because it's not just one person. It's like the whole organization, MLS, US Soccer, and even the teams, whoever owns the teams, the managers, the agents, everybody is like trying to cover the players. We don't know how to do that.
You're saying Mexico doesn't accelerate their players into leagues around the
world? No, because this is, once they get out of Mexico, of Liga MX, it's money. Whoever is going to make money. So they're asking for, like JJ Macias. They were asking $9 million, right? For $9 million, Glenn, you can bring 3 Argentinians.
Yeah, but they're gonna take the opportunity away from Mexican players. So
no. I'm not talking about the seller. I'm talking about the buyer. I'm talking about the buyer. I say, I'm gonna get JJ Macias. It's very easy. Let's figure Austin FC needs players, right? They're not gonna get a Mexican for $9 million. They can get Jete, Drusi, who else was it? I mean, they can get 3 guys.
Right.
3 guys for the price of 1 Mexican. That's why probably it's hard to see good Mexican players on the MLS. What LAFC did with Chicharito, with Vela, and Galaxy did with Chicharito, it wasn't new. They did it for Giovanni, they did it for Beckham, they did it for Zlatan, they did it for, it's the marketing depending on the stadium, depending on the income, it's obviously bigger. But once you get a Mexican player, you want something in return as a team, as a club.
Yeah.
And bring in Pizarro, bring in Chofis, bring in whoever you want from the middle, I would say middle size. I don't want to offend anybody, but the middle size Mexicans, you're going to get nothing back. Nobody's who's going to buy Pizarro's or Chofis shirts, honestly.
Yeah. No, it's each player is a specific case. It is different. As far as Americans going over to Europe, I think their mentality is something that is sought out of also, and I think they're willing to take the risk more. I remember the time period where MLS, whenever a player said that they had ambitions of playing in Europe, they'd get all upset, and it's like, why wouldn't you want the players in your league trying to get to the best league in the world? And if a couple of them get through, that's only a good thing for your league. I get where you're coming from. The clubs you're mentioning are the ones that will have a bit deeper pockets. That's their model of doing business. They feel like they have to have stars out in Los Angeles, as opposed to building stars. They get the name star coming in. I can't really argue with what you're saying. Certain parts of the world at certain times are better value, and I think Argentina is pretty good value right now. And MLS has a lot of deep roots in Argentina.
Yeah, no, and also Colombia. Colombia is getting Leon got like 3 players for $1 million, and they're really good players. Good players from. I'm gonna let I'm thank you for your time. I'm gonna let you go in 2-3 minutes. I just want to ask you. That Rui Diaz is pretended by Cruz Azul. Cruz Azul is looking for Rui Diaz, but Cruz Azul, I know he's looking for more players on MLS, at least another 2. And we know that they were looking for Fagundes a little while ago.
Wow.
Now the MLS, now the Liga MX is looking on MLS because they're finding out we have faster players, we have good players, and still, even with the $400,000 that Fagundes, the salary 2021, it's a good price for Mexico, for the Mexican league.
Well, it all
just
depends
thinking about Gignac. Gignac makes almost $2.5 million per year.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think Diego Fagundes is a great guy you brought up because I think he's turned his career around. Coming to Austin was a revelation for him, leaving New England, playing on artificial surface, playing in a city now that's embracing the game and has 20,000 people at a game. If you're a player, where do you want to play? You want to play in an empty stadium in Houston? You want to play in an empty stadium wherever, where there's less fans? Or do you want to be in a market where there's tons of fans and there's criticism and there's excitement and there's energy? I mean, these cities are not destinations. The Houston Dynamo have to turn their club around to make it a destination where people really want to come and not just stop over on their way to go somewhere else, like Albert Delis, who's now playing for Bordeaux in French Ligue 1, right? So,
do you think?
I think this will continue. Good value in MLS. Europe sees it. Liga MX sees it also.
Do you think, in some point, Houston Dynamo can have the same fans, the same passion as before in the future?
I do, and I don't think it's going to be easy. I think it is going to take years to get there, but I do, because so many facets of their business has to be improved. The focus has to be on the sport of soccer, not rebrands, not what you say on Twitter. On the product now, it's got to be something that reaches out, extends the olive branch to the diverse soccer fan, which is Houston. If you were ever going to market soccer in Houston, you got diversity, you got soccer fans from Nigeria, Mexico, Costa Rica, France, England, Scotland, oil industry. Come on, this is not brain surgery. These are the people you have to go after.
Well, and hopefully we, as Austin FC, stay for a long period of time like the way we are. We just need to have good results next season. And I'm going to believe that you're right, because with your experience, if you think we should give another year to Wolf, let's do it. Before I go, there goes the ball. What do you think about Owen's Wolf debut?
Oh, the young man. Yeah, I mean, I think it's wonderful. I think he's getting a taste of professional soccer. Obviously, he comes from lineage with his father. There's a lot of connections there. Sometimes those opportunities come better, but I think in his case, he's earned it with what he's done at the youth level. And, we'll see. It makes for a great storyline. And I don't think Josh Wolf would give him his debut unless he felt he deserved it.
Do you think he would debut in any other team?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have not seen him play enough to honestly answer that from the playing side of it. So I don't want to say something that I haven't seen. I like the eye test, but I think if a young player, you got to give him opportunity. Now, look, in the case of Houston, how are you going to give young players opportunities when you can't even get into the? Makes it harder. Remember the game where Seattle came to Austin? They played 4 teenagers, and I think they got a result that night. Well, that's because they were in first place. They had the opportunity to do that and rest players. That comes with winning. That comes with a successful organization, top to bottom. We can't forget that.
Okay, and the last question, Glenn. Who's staying? Who's leaving? Who do you think is leaving, and who do you think is coming on Houston Dynamo?
Well, there's certain guys that are locked in with their contracts. Teenage Davey, Tim Parker, I think they're all there. I think Adam Lundqvist stays. Probably Vera stays. I think Darwin Quintero, I don't think you're going to see him back. It's too much money, too old as a DP. As much as I love him as a soccer player, Pico will stay, but they're that are in option years. So right now they're making a decision. But, Boniek Garcia is not coming after all his 10 good years. But you got to turn things over. This can't be about loyalty anymore. This has to be about people making honest, real tough decisions about turning this organization around. This isn't a 2-player fix here.
Well, Glenn, Thank you very much for your time. It was really an honor to have you for the first time in Club Deportes. I say for the first time because I hope we can have you in the future again. Club Deportes, we just turned 23, so I think we want to have you in the future. We want to be on Austin for a long time. So thank you very much, Glenn, and we congratulate. Actually, it's really amazing your career. We have been following you for a long time, and you guys, you can follow him if you're not following him already at Soccer Matters GD on Twitter. You can see all he's doing and all his spots and everything. Glenn, thank you very much.
Well, Jorge, let me just say this: to work around passionate guys like you, that we're all on the same level here. We're all doing what we can. We all are very passionate for the sport, and these clubs need people like yourself. They need Club Deportes. They need these shows, and they need people talking about the game. So first of all, we're colleagues, so I thank you for that. We're going to get you on my show, and thank you, and thank Club Deportes.
Well, muchísimas gracias, señores, por haber estado con nosotros. This was like a real good show. I really enjoyed very much. And I thank you very much. Muchas gracias por haber estado con nosotros. No se les olvide seguirnos en clubdeportes.com y también síganos en Twitter. Muchísimas gracias. Que la pasen muy bien.